Hello, everybody. Hello there, and welcome to another RPG First Look. I'm getting to do so many of these days, and I love them so much because I don't have a lot of time in my day-to-day life to just like sit down and go through a role-playing game. So these are such a good excuse to like learn about new games and check them out and then never play them in my whole life and be sad about it. However, Sam at Black Cats Gaming had the genius idea of pairing this up with an actual play one-shot. So I get to both read the game and then also play it, which is just like out of control weird for me. I'm very excited about it. So today we're going to be taking a look at a game that in 5 days I will be playing as a player. I don't even have to GM it. It's like a vacation for me. This game is called The Spy Game. It is an action espionage role-playing game powered by 5th edition. And while the Kickstarter and the branding may not be able to say this, I can. It's powered by 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, which puts it into a very unusual place for me because if you follow me on Twitter, if you tune into the stream on the regular, you'll know that I lived through a strange time in gaming, which is to say the time during which pretty much every role-playing game that came out in the mainstream was built on the 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons platform, right? We had Pathfinder, we had Spycraft, we had a Cthulhu variant. There were all of these games, built on the OGL, and some of them were kind of cool. Some of them were not. But it's an interesting place because we're starting to see more and more of these games begin to emerge. People who are taking a familiar framework, right, which is the action adventure bullshit of everyone's favorite tabletop role-playing game, and then trying to apply those mechanisms to another game. And I think that it can be done if you do it with forethought and intention and you know what you're rebuilding. And I'm really curious to see whether this game, I want to know how much the Spy Game takes from D&D. Sorry, the world's most popular role-playing game. I want to see how much gets taken from that game and applied to this game. I want to see where it deviates and where it sticks and watch the way that you can build a game from another game. Because for all of my bluster about, build a game that you want to see in the world and make sure the mechanics fit the narrative, I mean, I wrote Dungeon World, right? Sage and I took 2 games we liked and we just mushed them together. So it's certainly possible. It's about recognizing the moving pieces. And I'm really interested in seeing how this game does that. So the Spy Game, if you're interested in it, go ahead and throw in the chat if you're watching this live, ! Spy Game. We'll get you a link to the Kickstarter. There's also a free quick start version of the game, which is what we're going to be looking at today, available on DriveThruRPG. So you can download it, you can follow along, you can take a closer look at anything that I don't look as close as you'd like at, but we got lots of time. We're going to hang out and we're going to watch. But before I start talking about the game, before I start getting into it, I'm going to let Sam tell you about it. We're going to let Sam tell you about this game and then we'll dig in.
Hi, I'm Sam from Black Cats Gaming. We're a tabletop role-playing game company based in England, and we're kickstarting our first game, The Spy Game, which is a modern 5e action espionage RPG. In The Spy Game, you get to peer behind the curtain of society into the world of the agencies and take your place as a world-class spy. Together with your crew of con artists, infiltrators and hackers, you can take on global threats or become one yourself. The Spy Game is being developed using the 5th edition Open Gaming License for a modern take on a familiar fantasy gaming experience. You can choose from a whole host of new classes like the Face, the Infiltrator, the Hacker or the Technician, and you can use some incredible new gadgets, weapons and equipment. The Quick Start Guide is available now on drivethrurpg.com. We've almost finished our alpha version of the game, and we plan to release the beta version of the game to backers as soon as the Kickstarter is over, so that the whole community can get involved and influence the development of the final game. We're starting the production of this game from the ground up, so please lend us your support and follow the Black Cats into a world of international espionage and adventure.
So that's I want to point out really quick. So I'm only human. I can't help myself. I've watched this video a couple of times. The first time I watched the video, I was like, let's see what's going on the shelf there. What do we got on the shelf?
On DriveThruRPG.
And I gotta say, Sam, buddy, thank you. But this is great. Like, it's a really nice, I gotta say, like, if you compare this to a lot of RPG Kickstarter videos, it's very well done. It's a very nice, well-produced video. You can tell this is not the Black Cat Gaming. It's not their first foray into this space. I'm interested. The art looks good. Let's take a look at the game itself. Let's dig through. I think that the quick start is about 60 odd pages, so we'll be able to take our time and dig through it a little bit. Let's have a look. So first of all, this is our cover. I like the bloody D20 kind of logo there. I think that's cute, right? It's a feature. I guess it could be a D6 if you flatten it out. But so this is our quick start cover. Clearly there is a lot going on, right? This is not an image of characters being stealthy, right? This is clearly a game of action first and espionage second, which gives me a little bit of hope. If the cover art had been Sneaky McGee and the Ninja Patrol, I might have had a little bit more concern, because we know as people who are familiar with the world's most famous role-playing game, I feel like we know that D&D, its system handles stealth poorly for the most part. So I'm curious to see if there's some, this is what a mission inevitably looks like. I'm curious too, when we think of spy stuff, I'm curious whether this is going to lean more into like Metal Gear, or if we're going to be looking at a game that's like Tom Clancy's tabletop role-playing game. I'm curious to see if it's more like, Jason Bourne or James Bond, or I don't know, Archer, I guess. I'm very curious. Is it going to be XXX State of the Union? Ideally, we would get a core system that can mostly handle all of that stuff, and then that's a great place to go for additional rules material or supplements, right? So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, this is just the quick starter. It's probably going to start with what we see on the cover, right? This kind of slightly futuristic spy action. Shooting, blowing out the glass, helicopters and drones and what have you. It's got almost like a modern non-future Shadowrun thing going on. I think that's probably because of the haircut, honestly, which I have to say, it's a very nice haircut that this operative has in the middle here. It's a good look. And this is something that we can talk about kind of more generally when it comes to stuff like this. One advantage you do have when you are building a game on an existing system is that it makes it relatively easy to port things from one to the other. So if you wanted to add 5th edition D&D content into this game, I don't imagine it would be too difficult. It's sort of a double-edged sword where the flatter the game's mechanical landscape is, the less overtly about its particular thing it becomes, but also the easier it is to port stuff in. So if you're going into this and you're like, well, I like spy stuff, I like spy action, I like helicopters and rocket launchers and stuff, but like maybe it'd be fun to throw some mind flayers into this. I don't imagine it would be too hard. Yeah. So I do like that we're reinforced here with this clear and obvious game of action thing, right? It doesn't have us kind of skulking about, though I'm sure that will be an element of the game. Yeah. So, published under the Open Gaming License, which means there are going to be some things from 5th edition, some elements of that game mechanically that'll be in the game, and then obviously they can bend out from there. Let's find out what. Let's find out what's in this game. So we get the kind of basic stuff about what a role-playing game is, how you role play, what it is like. So what the game tells us that it's about, right? That sort of first step in understanding a game. What is this game about? We learn from the art. We learn from things like the Kickstarter video. We learn from the back cover of the game. We learn from what the game says in its text. So this is a game about action and espionage, clandestine organizations, and secret agencies. You take on the role of a spy, running intel and engaging in wet work. That means the Rudy Tooty pop and shooty, to ensure the security of the world from corrupt governments and the evil machinations of rogue villains. Uses the rules based on the world's most famous role-playing game. I love that that's our euphemism for D&D. The world's most famous role-playing game. It's not wrong, but it certainly sounds impressive. To create a standalone experience, an exciting game of secret agents and supervillains. Now, there is a long history of this kind of thing, right? I think every generation has had like a cool spy game that's not too far derived from Dungeons and Dragons, right? We have Spycraft, obviously in the 3E era. There were several. There was an official James Bond role-playing game. There were several other games in the kind of early 80s that were like spy games. And I feel like this is a genre we like. You know, military action, that kind of thriller, rocket launchers, supercomputer tech, Russian tanks. So yeah, I wonder how many hit dice a Russian tank has. Let's find out. It is worth noting, what does the game tell us that the game master's job is, right? So equal parts storyteller and referee. Your job is to know the rules and use them to resolve and describe the actions the characters take, whether they're shooting enemy soldiers, rappelling down a building, or hacking into a secure mainframe. The game calls on you to judge how difficult actions are and describe the outcome based on whether the players succeed or fail their dice rolls. You control all the allies and antagonists of the story, acting as them and describing what they do, just like the player characters. So there you go. You're not the overall storyteller. Your job is to resolve and describe actions and to know the rules and to apply them fairly. Now, there's another section here about the most important rule, which again reinforces the GM's authority in the game. So it's a very traditional model, which of course, because it's built on a game with a very traditional model, which is fine. And it talks about how the GM is encouraged to make sure the game keeps moving forward, right? Do the thing, get the rules right. That's part of your job, but also make rules calls when you come into play. The game uses the same 6 abilities as D&D. So if you are familiar with strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, that stuff's all the same. It uses proficiency bonus, uses advantage and disadvantage. Pretty normal stuff in D&D. Things you would expect to run into. And then yeah, we make tests and we do contests. So nothing in here is particularly deviated. This is all the same base material from D&D. This is what we can kind of expect. And then we get into skills, where I imagine we're going to start to see deviation, right? Obviously, there's a lot of skills that characters are going to share, right? Acrobatics, athletics, lying, jumping, all that stuff. But I'm pretty sure Arcana is not going to end up on this list. So let's see what the characters in this game do. Now, remember, when we talk about a role-playing game, we want to understand mechanically what the game is about, because I can tell you this is a game about political intrigue and romance. And then if I give you a character whose only capability is shooting, jumping, and karate, we have dissonance, right? So the presentation of the game, the characters in the art should all be doing the things that characters can do on their character sheet. Everything in the character sheet should be reflected in what the game says that it's about. So this is a game in which we can activate our character skills of athletics, acrobatics, deception, all that stuff makes sense. Espionage. So espionage is a skill of surveillance using evidence and gathering covert information. So listen and interpret audio from a wiretap, connect seemingly unrelated events, interrogate a prisoner, and disseminate false information. That's a very interesting, that's an interesting skill, right? It covers a lot of bases. It's kind of like skullduggery. Yeah, or like investigation plus. Because listen and interpret audio, connect seemingly unrelated events, those are they seem normal, but interrogating a prisoner? So this is an interrogation skill as well. Yeah, it's interesting to make all of that a skill. And it makes me wonder what classes have access to it, right? If we're all playing spies, like I'm guessing like a soldier or a medic wouldn't have espionage. They're there to back up the characters that do have it. I think it'd be hard to play a character in this game that doesn't have an espionage skill. I guess your job is to make sure someone in the party does. Yeah, it's spycraft. Yeah, interesting. So comparing and contrasting that, we have infiltration, right? Infiltration is covert placement and insertion of agents into a location or object. So this is stealth, right? I think. Find a path past security cameras, designate and extract. Oh, so it's not physical stealth. This is like security perception or security investigation, right? Covert placement of agents is like a tactics skill. And honestly, I like games that have it. I miss it in D&D sometimes. A skill where you can say, I want to look at all of the information. I take a look at the blueprints, I roll infiltration, and then you tell me where the best place to insert the agents are. It's kind of like a mastermind skill. Interesting. So that's a new one. Infotech. So this is hacking, right? Manipulating computing and telecom systems. So this is breaking into an enemy database, clearing up satellite, enhancing video feeds, downloading a virus, tapping a phone. This is hackery, right? Doing computer stuff. This is the Piani skill. So insight is insight, right? Make a cold reading, identify a target through body language, assess a person's political attitude, right? Perceiving lies, figuring out what people are feeling and thinking. It absolutely, you really have to do that thing where just like in D&D, we're not characters. Like, I don't know how to fight with a sword. I don't know how to throw magic missiles at someone. That's just not possible. I'm also not a super spy. So being able to say my character, who is a killer super spy, looks at this web of interconnected information. I'd like to make an espionage roll to figure out the details, right? Let me look at my conspiracy diagram and draw connections. What are you going to give me? Yeah. Intimidation it's interesting because espionage is interrogating a prisoner, but intimidation is getting a suspect to talk. So we're seeing a little bit of a perception investigation overlap between those two, but it is cool to see more skills based on intelligence than we would normally get because this system doesn't have a lot of support for them. And I wonder if that also means we're going to see more effects that require intelligence saving throws. Because int, I feel like, just as a personal thing, I think int is the underused ability of the world's most popular role-playing game. And I think in a modern setting with computers and stuff, kind of matters more. Yeah. So intimidation, yeah, people in chat are making a good point. Intimidation and espionage might be good cop, bad cop. I could see you helping with one and rolling the other. I'm all right with like a little bit of looseness in these skills because we have a limited list. Another intelligence skill, mechanics, right? Repairing equipment, sabotaging a generator. This is Arcana for machines. Medicine is medicine. I like that medicine can be used to obtain the DNA of an enemy agent. I really think that in this genre, it's very useful to provide these kinds of hints. And even in base D&D, they had to create a chapter in a supplement to explain to you what you could use your skills for. So now we have perception, which is identifying threats and situational awareness. So searching for stuff, observing. So I guess you would gather information with perception and then apply your espionage skill to understanding it, or gathering information with insight and then using. It's interesting. There is some sort of like interconnected skill use there. And if you've watched me run games that are based in the same system, you notice that I steal sometimes from Burning Wheel, and I do like link tests where I'll say, okay, make an infotech test to scan the internet for information about them. And then if you get 15 or higher, then you have advantage on your espionage skill. It's just like a little bend in the way the skills work to let you kind of like link them together. And one player could do one and one player could do the other. I think it increases teamwork. And in a game like this, you're a team of super spies on a specific mission. So I think that kind of thing is useful. Persuasion, obviously really important. And then sleight of hand, doing thief stuff. And in a way, you're all thieves of some nature, right? You're all espionage agents. So I'm curious to see how much overlap in the skill list there are. So stealth is our literal, like, be a ninja skill. Survival is bushcraft, right? And then, there's a separate tactics skill. Interesting. Okay, so that means that infiltration is like your pre-stealth, and then you stealth while you're actually in it. And then tactics is formulating a military operation, applying your knowledge to set up ambushes and recognize objects. Interesting. Huh. Well, all right. So those are our skills. From there, we jump right into armor. So here's a list of some of the armor. It seems like it works pretty much like we're used to. Armor in this is you don't get hit, not you ablate damage. So in the game, you got padded clothes, undercover vest, stab vest, tactical armor, Kevlar, ceramic armor, riot shield, and ballistic shield. So pretty standard spread. If you want to be like a big bomb squad guy with a grenade launcher, throw on that metal plate armor, and away you go. But otherwise, I don't know, don't get shot at, I suppose, is the real. I'm curious to see how much damage a weapon does. So I'm going to come back to this weapon proficiency. Like, we'll look at the special list, but here are our weapons. Here's a whole page of weapons. And as you can see, weapons are somewhat more complex. Like the difference between a mace and a short sword isn't kind of as big a deal as maybe like an assault rifle and a shotgun. So it looks like, what's the thing that does the most damage? An anti-tank launcher does 3d8 piercing damage. But we've also got shit like machetes and garrots and nunchucks. I do like that there is a full selection of ninja weapons. So if you want to be Ninja Terminator, if you want to do like an 80s version of this game, someone can be Rambo. Someone can be Chuck Norris. Yeah, traditional melee weapons, they're ninja weapons, basically. Yeah. It seems that way. Yeah. Okay. All right. I wonder how valid it would be to play like a ninja, basically. I wonder if one of the classes you could build. I mean, we saw that monk in the art. Anyway, we'll get back to it. So special qualities of weapons in the game. This is where you add to what D&D gives you, because we need to have things like ammo and range for guns and whatever. So let's take a look at how these are different. So let's see. Blast is a radius in feet and damages characters that can be targeted by line of sight if they fail a DC 15 dex save. To avoid being the target of a blast weapon's area of effect, you must have total cover. Yeah. We can do, if you'll want, I can zoom in a little. We can do like a part of the page if you want to take a closer look. So yeah, blast. Let's take a look at some examples of blast weapons. So what's a grenade? Grenade is like the standard blast weapon. Do we have hand grenades? Are there hand grenades in this list? Maybe there aren't. Military ranged weapons. I see RPGs. Let's see, throw a copy of the Dungeon Master's Guide at them. Yeah, let's take a look at the next. Ah, there we go. We got a whole list of course. Why have one grenade when you can have 12? Okay, so blast radius is it seems like it's in increments of 5. So 5, 10, 20, 15. Yeah, that's good for squares, right? Number of squares. So a frag grenade is as big as a fireball spell. That's pretty significant, right? You throw it. I guess this uses like standard like throwing. I wonder if there's a bounce table. We'll have to look, because a lot of the time with grenades, they're gonna go off no matter what. Like if you're in D&D and you throw an axe at someone and you miss, it doesn't really matter, right? The axe is gonna fly past them and land on the ground. But in this case, we'll see where the grenade lands and if that does any extra effect. Yeah, I'm curious because it's a pretty easy thing to write a rule for, and lots of other systems that are similar like that. So, okay, all right. So grenades, they deal like a pretty good amount of damage, right? A frag grenade does 3d6 slashing damage, 2d10 force for a concussion grenade. They're blast. They may have special qualities, but yeah, okay. All right. So it's like an AoE, right? Which is important because you don't have spellcasters, right? So if you want to take out a bunch of goons, you need explosives. Okay, so that's our blast. Finesse works the same way, strength or dex. Guided. Oh, that's cool. So a guided weapon, as long as you have line of sight, you can target it as if you were at short range. So a guided weapon, you like lock on, you fire it, and then you continue to aim it. So as long as you got line of sight, you get rights because you're not lobbing it at them. Okay, interesting. All right. Light is normal. Loading, you can only fire one piece of ammo when you use an action, bonus action, or reaction. It has to be reloaded after each time you fire. Right, same thing from D&D. We got our range, similar thing. Reach for big long weapons. The reload quality. Now we're gonna talk a little bit about how this game uses ammo. So in D&D, it's 1-to-1. It's fire an arrow, you're good, right? Mark one arrow, fire an arrow, mark one arrow, throw a knife, mark one knife, you get some back. Obviously, you can't go around collecting your bullets. So this has some ambiguity for ammunition, which is the number of times you can shoot rather than the number of bullets you have. Because if you got to track like 200 rounds and you're firing on full auto, it's a whole thing. So any weapons provided by your class receive 3 reloads of ammunition or clips that replenish between missions. If you buy additional ammo, this gets used up first, like temporary hit points. You always start a mission with a minimum of 3 reloads. Okay. Yeah. All right. Clips or magazines or whatever. Some games use like you only run out of ammo on a crit, or you only run out of ammo in certain on a critical fail or in certain circumstances. So this is, you get to fire. Let's take a look at some of the loading options here. So for attacks, right? Okay. So if you've got a light pistol, bop, 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 you can fire 9 times. A heavy pistol fires 6 times. A crossbow or spear gun fires once. So you start with 3 crossbow shots. Interesting that the game doesn't, and I guess it's on you to figure it out, but it doesn't have a loud or silent. I guess that's a narrative thing you just have to assume. Like throwing a shuriken at somebody wouldn't necessarily set off an alarm in the same way that firing a gun does. We'll have to look and see what suppressors do in the game, because obviously that's a big meme. Like you'd use a crossbow or a spear gun, which is nice. That's a good, I mean, what spy hasn't had to shoot somebody with a spear gun once in a while? You'd use a crossbow because it's quiet and for almost no other reason, right? So reload, you fire it a number of times, and then you have to use up one of your reloads. Okay. Armor piercing. Okay. So we have armor class, and armor class isn't affected by armor piercing, but it is affected by it affects resistance to armor. Okay. So if something has resistance to piercing damage or immunity to piercing damage, it gets knocked down one step. Okay. All right. Well, let's see what gives you resistance to piercing damage. I guess armor. Yeah, armor does. Oh, a ballistic shield does. Interesting. Okay. All right. So if you have a ballistic shield, you get +2 to your armor class and resistance to piercing. So it does mix in a little bit of that stuff, unless somebody is shooting you with armor piercing ammo. All right. Okay. Let's see what else we got for qualities on these weapons. Burst fire. You can spray a 10-foot square with a burst of bullet fire. Each character needs to make a DC 15 saving throw or suffer the damage as normal. It takes up 2 attacks of ammunition. Okay, all right, so that's burst fire. So burst fire is, it's an AoE. You pick a 10-foot square and you just hose the square. Everybody makes a DC 15 save or they take damage, which means if something has a good armor class and a low dexterity save, you can burst fire them down rather than having to take individual attacks. It turns an attack into a saving throw. Yeah, okay, all right. And then full auto, you fire this weapon using full automatic. Everything within line of sight up to long range in a 45 degree cone. DC 15 save or take damage with advantage if they're within long range. Interesting. And it requires a full mag and empties the weapon of ammo. Yeah, so it's a nice way to go after. Yeah, it kind of makes everybody a wizard if you've got grenades and you've got full auto. It's kind of cool. It requires a full, so it has to be your first thing you do, and it empties your. Okay, well let's take a look at a big machine gun. Good luck approximating a 45 degree cone. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to, if you're doing this on a square grid. What's a 45 degree cone? It's 1 in front of you, then 2, then 3. Like, you'd have to, I assume there'll be templates. I'm not sure it's like half of a 90 degree, like, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there'll be templates and stuff in the thing. It's a cone of cold, right? We've done these cones before. It's interesting that it says 45 degree instead of using the normal 5e language for cones, but it's a cone attack up to, you just hose them. I could see giving advantage on this save. I mean, cover, right? That's what cover is for. The cover will give you advantages or bonuses to these. And that's the weird thing about cover in D&D. It's the only time where you get like a bonus on a saving throw instead of advantage. Anyway, get behind cover so you don't get annihilated by a full auto. And how much does a heavy machine gun do? 2d12 piercing damage. It uses up all of its attacks, all 4 attacks, but you can hit everybody within a cone with 2d12 damage. So like machine gun, use your move action, drop behind cover. Next action, slam a new mag in there. Get up and then hose them all down. And I guess this is where if you want to get real intensive jungle warfare, this is where you would want to have a belt feeding your heavy machine gun so that every round you can just cone 2d12 piercing damage. It's kind of a lot, but I like that it's so swingy, right? Yeah. And someone asked, why would you use burst fire instead of full auto? You would use burst fire because you don't want to hit everyone in a cone. You just want to hit a square within a cone. And you get to do it twice if you have a heavy machine gun instead of doing it just the once and losing all your stuff. Cool. So that's full auto. Let's take a look at some of the other qualities of weapons. So grappling, which I think I saw on the garrote. So grappling is you get to grapple them when you attack. Lots of monsters have this in D&D. And then spread, which is if a ranged attack hits, you can apply portions of the damage between other enemies within 5 feet. So there's a lot of weapons that do some kind of modified attack of or AoE, right? So whether you're doing burst fire or full auto or spread, you can hit things and things near it. And then this one splits the damage rather than hitting everything within that area. Let's see what has spread. Let's see here. So none of these firearms seem to. Here we go. A shotgun, of course. Right. So that's how a shotgun works, differentiated from burst fire into an area. Okay. All right, cool. And then thrown, two-handed, and versatile, all just like regular D&D type stuff. Okay, cool. All right, so let's see what we got for equipment, because this is the other thing, right? Is finding out what kind of equipment and gadgets and stuff that your spy has. This is like, are we talking about hardened hacking computers, or are we talking about laser watches, right? Or both, right? This is going to help us, and in a way, an equipment list, like in a game like D&D or Shadowrun, or like honestly any equipment where your gear matters, it's a form of setting. So if you see on a weapons list, you see, rubber fish, it's going to be very different than tactical baton. It's going to tell us something about the game's environment. So gadgets it looks like our kind of our magic items in the game. So activating an item is like a command code, pushing a button, doing a thing. It's use an item as an action. So a class feature such as the thief's archetype fast hands can be used. Oh, that's cool. So if you have the fast hands ability, then you're able to use gadgets more quickly. That makes use an item more valuable in a game like this than it would be in the game that it's based on. And then you can designate a target, which is like casting a spell or using an item on someone. And then someone else can designate targets for you. So this is how we do mortar fire. Oh, cool. So doing pairing is like, this is where we get our, what's it called in D&D when you, attunement. So you have to attune, if you're a computer hacker, you can attune your phone or a satellite uplink or a hard line. You can pair it with your device. Oh, that's cool. And then that limits yeah, right. Okay. Clever. Okay. All right. So vehicle proficiency. Has anyone ever played a game of Dungeons and Dragons where like vehicle proficiencies were like really important? I guess this is something to look forward to, but obviously motorbikes, cars, tanks, helicopters, more likely to come up in play. So there's going to be more specific rules to them. Vehicles in the game have a size, just like a character. They have an armor class, just like a character. They have HP. If a damage reduces it to 0 and the remaining damage equals its hit point maximum, if you hit it hard enough, it can blow up. And then vehicles have damage resistance. So this is a thing I'm curious about. I guess in this, vehicles are halfway between a character and an inanimate object because damage threshold is a way to make things like pistol fire or punching a car not do anything, plus damage resistance, plus hit points and armor class. So balancing those numbers instead of doing something like vehicle scale or person scale weapons. Yeah. Okay. Well, like let's look at some vehicles. So speed is how fast it can go. It's got a value in single turn and miles per hour top speed, and it's got maximum range, how far it can go on a tank of gas. Right. So that's ammo for a vehicle. Cool. And then crew positions, driver, gunner, commander. Okay, so there are rules for supporting like flying around in a gunship. All right, show me some stats for vehicles. Let me see a vehicle. Oh, there's like a lot of rules for vehicles. Oh, that's good. Okay, cool. So, I mean, there's a helicopter on the cover, so you'd assume that there'd be rules for that stuff. Cool. Okay, well, I'll slow down and we'll get to the vehicles themselves when we get there. Okay, so what else do we need to know about operating a vehicle? As part of a move, you can enter and take a position in a vehicle. Doing either costs half your speed. So it's like getting up from prone. If you're in a vehicle, you can either control it using the control vehicle action or maintain the same course and speed if you want to do a different thing. Okay, so if you're driving, you can either do something else with the car, like ram someone or like make a turn or whatever, or you can just keep your foot on the pedal, maintain course and speed, and like shoot out the window or try to apply a bandage or something, right? Okay, and then when you take the control vehicle action, you can speed up, you can change speed of the vehicle, and you can turn, ram, or fall from a moving vehicle. Okay, all right. Let's see what that does. So if you're driving a vehicle, you can take a control vehicle action to drive your vehicle into someone else and into someone or something else and deal damage to it according to the size of your vehicle. If your direction opposes the vehicle, you'll deal max damage. Okay. So the difference between T-boning someone and head-oning them is how much damage. As part of the collision, your vehicle also takes the same amount of damage. Right, so if you're driving what's a car? A car is large. Car is like a 10 by 10 square. It's 2 by 2. If you're driving a car and you ram head-on into another car, both vehicles take 60 damage. It looks like. Large vehicles, ramming damage, head on. Otherwise, you're rolling the damage. Sideswipe or ram. Okay. Passengers in a collision suffer force damage. Each passenger suffers 1d6 bludgeoning for every 10 feet of movement before the collision, or 1d6 for every 10 miles an hour. If you weren't strapped in, they suffer the same damage as the vehicle. Put on your seatbelts, kids. If you're not wearing your seatbelts, you will probably die. I mean, I don't know how many hit points we have. It's funny seeing, and this is a limitation of like the order of operation in which we're presented info. So we learn things in the game will kill you, vehicles can kill you, vehicles can kill each other, but we still don't know how many hit points we have, which is terrifying. So I assume at first level, or if you're an NPC, you toast. Now, keep in mind from a game design perspective, the game is teaching us what is important in the order in which those things are important. So it's telling us, how are we going to take damage? Probably from getting shot at or shooting each other, right? What are we going to need to know? How to operate a vehicle, how to shoot things. We haven't gotten to the character creation stuff yet because we're getting context for the choices we're going to make. I wonder if there's a character who's just like baller good at operating a vehicle. I wonder if there's a driver. And actually, I sort of like this presentation, and I've gone on record more than once talking about how I like being given the rules and then being given choices to make about those rules. But it's a delicate balance, right? You don't want to give too much rule stuff before you get to character creation. You want to get just enough so that we know what kinds of decisions we need to make. So, yeah, interesting. So let's take a look here. So ramming, falling damage. If you fall out of a vehicle, you take bludgeoning damage depending on how fast it was going or how high up it was. If you're shooting from a vehicle, you can make melee attacks as normal. If you, let's see, you may not be able to reach your target. You may be able to shoot through an open window. It doesn't look like shooting from a vehicle gives you disadvantage inherently. So that's not bad. So what might seem like, and this is a fun thing to do, this is a good experiment to do with a modern role-playing game, right? How realistic is it trying to be? Is it more or less realistic shooting from a vehicle? That's an intentional choice, right? Not having disadvantage shooting from a vehicle tells you something about what the game's action is supposed to feel like. If we did have disadvantage on any attack from a vehicle, it would say, don't do this or do this less or expect to fail. Right. The game also provides, and we saw this table on the last bit, vehicle weak points. So if you don't want to just shoot at a car, because inevitably you're like, I have a pistol, I want to shoot at a car, and I can't. I'm just bouncing off. We have the damage resistance, right? So I shoot at the tires instead. So it's got AC 13 and it has certain hit points. You make an attack against the object's own AC and hit points when you target it. Moving targets get a +5 bonus to their AC. If you can't see the weak point, you might not be able to shoot it. If you reduce a weak point to 0, it destroys the object and makes the vehicle more difficult to control, right? Propulsion might bring it to a stop. Destroying tires or tracks confers disadvantage on the ability checks. So yeah, okay. So now we know how to shoot at and from vehicles, but it's almost never that this happens in stasis. Usually when we're doing vehicle shootouts, those vehicles are driving. So let's see how this game handles chases. Now, the system from which this is derived is notoriously bad with chase scenes. Foot chases and vehicle chases in the Dungeon Master's Guide are not fun. They're boring and they're slow and they don't feel tense because you're just it's an inevitable. They feel like an inevitability, which I guess sometimes a chase kind of is. But if you're in a vehicle, it's really like a moving combat scenario, right? So if it's just two people chasing each other, you just do a standard chase. You both make the test. The winner gains ground based on speed. The pursued moved away. Continue the contest until the chase ends, right? So it's just going fast and trying to catch the other person. But if you got a bunch of people in a chase, say a helicopter with a gunner chasing a motorbike, then you've got to roll for initiative, and it's treated like a special combat encounter in which you can take special actions like proceed, which is make a wisdom check. If you succeed and you're being chased, you make some distance. If you fail, you're closer to the chase ending in favor of your opponent. You can weave, which is a dexterity check to give you a bonus to your armor class. So this is the I'm on the motorbike, they're on the helicopter, they're shooting at me with a machine gun. I need to move around. Now, what's interesting is that a weave maneuver gives you a bonus to your armor class, but that won't help you if you're getting hit with fully automatic weapons fire, right? So somebody taking pot shots at you with a rifle from a helicopter, that's going to make weaving useful, but it doesn't matter how much you weave if they've got a cone of fire down on you and they're just hosing you with this fully automatic weapon. You're going to want to get away. You're going to want to hide, take cover, right? And then sideswiping and ramming, which we covered before. Bouncing off the side of them, try to force them off the road, or ram head on into them to try to kill them in a horrible ball of fire. If you lose control of your vehicle for whatever reason, you have disadvantage while you're wobbling around, and then you have to take a chance to make a DC 15 Dex check. By succeeding, you regain control. If you fail at that, I guess you're still like out of control and might crash. Let's see. If you can lose control by either being the target of an attack or by rolling 1 on a driving check. Oh, interesting. So we're starting to see a deviation here where most of the time 1s don't really matter in this system. But now we have an example of a time in which rolling a 1 does matter. Interesting. Okay, so weapons, important. Vehicles, similarly important. Hacking. This is our next sub tool of the game. And it looks like hacking is a form of combat, which is, I mean, you use the tools you have and the game does combat. So we have vehicle combat, computer combat, and person combat as the 3 ways that we fight so far. If you're a hacker, you use infotech, and operating systems have hit points and armor class. That's how much damage they can endure before they're rendered corrupt and unusable. You can make attacks against specific forms of software, and it looks like this takes the approach that hacking operates on the same time scale as a combat encounter. So you could do that fun thing where you're like, someone is driving the armored car while the hacker is in the back trying to hack the computer, and the enemies are chasing you on motorcycles, right? You want to mix up those systems, but they all use the same like initiative system and armor class and hit points, it looks like. So your hacking modifier is your proficiency bonus plus your intelligence modifier, kind of like casting spells. And your tools are like weapons that give you different things you can do. You can brute force, you use a keylogger, you have rootkits, scanners, and spyware, and that's like the gear. And then each tool has a delivery method, either manual, installed in the OS, downloaded or opened by someone else. So like tricking someone. So you can make a deception check to get someone else to download software for you. So it isn't just live, like I'm in hacking. You can say, I'm going to plant a download tool and I'm going to make a deception check to try to trick someone into hacking their own system. That's clever. That's a clever use of deception too, right? Like social hacking being a thing. And then remote hacking. So this is your typical like hacker shit that you're going to be doing. So like with vehicle combat, hacking has actions that you can take. So accessing an operating system, installing software, deleting things, taking hacker actions to break down the systems or firewalls, encrypting things. This is interesting. Yeah, it'd be good to be a charismatic hacker. Yeah, right? Very clever. Because the thing is, and I mean, they do this, like this kind of thing is cinematic too. This goes back into like hacking fiction as long as we've had it, right? Like in Hackers, there is a point where he calls and he gets the password to a system, a bulletin board system, by asking a security guard to do something on the other end for him. So I like that the game supports that. It's not just like you hack with your avatar in cyberspace. This is more like you're using a computer to attack someone's personnel security as well as their computer security. Yeah. You could do, and this is a game, I guess this is a movie I didn't really consider, but you could do like the girl with the dragon tattoo, like pretty damn easily with this. This seems to fit that mold, because those movies are, there's combat, there's car chases, there's gunfights, but there's also like weird secret hacker stuff all throughout it as well. Yeah. That's pretty cool. So yeah, you could definitely do that kind of thing. So the game itself is built into a specific order of play. Now this is where we start getting into where I think the game is going to deviate a little bit. So let's take a look. A combat encounter. So this is our fighting, right? So combat encounter is more structured version of the game, broken into turns and rounds. Each round, you get a turn to act, taking a fixed number of actions. So that's combat. Determine surprise, and then establish positions. But there's also this thing, the infiltration phase. So move them around the area of operation in their regular routine or making skill checks. Player agents take turns, then all NPCs. If a player agent is detected, all players left take their turn before moving into step 6. Then you roll initiative. Interesting. So infiltration is a phase of combat, like when you're in proximity of it's like XCOM. Yeah. Fascinating. Okay, so I like that. You put the infiltration phase in as part of a larger combat encounter, assuming that it will lead to combat. That's sort of a foregone conclusion. So then you roll initiative, then you act in initiative order, begin the next round, repeat step 7 until the fighting stops. Okay, so we have surprise round. If the agents have successfully infiltrated the area without the enemy becoming aware of them, the players have. I think that's the only way to do stealth or whatever in this is just to assume sneaking will give you a momentary advantage when you inevitably get caught. It seems to be the way that they're handling this. So there's a surprise round, then you go back into normal and you do the thing. So during the first few turns of combat, enemy NPCs may be unaware of the agent's presence. If all player characters are hidden at the beginning of combat, they all take their turns, moving and taking action as normal in any order they wish, taking their turn, moving and completing all their actions before handing over to another PC until everyone is done. Then the NPCs take turns moving along their regular patrol routes and taking any action part of their routine. Oh, that's cool. So you kind of decide like what is this character's routine and what is their normal route. So it's like they go here, they do this. When they're finished with that, they move on to this thing and they walk this hallway. This would be kind of fun to design map-wise in Roll20 to be like, here's the building and here are all the characters and this is where they go. And you can draw a little on the GM layer. You could draw little yellow like lines to be like, okay, this guy walks around here and at each step they do this, then they do this, then they go back to this thing. Then they do this. And if they do this thing 6 times, then they go something else. Yeah. Or like they stop here, they make a perception check on this empty room, and then they move. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I like that. That's actually really fun. I kind of like taking a more video gamey approach to this. Like, I think it's almost smarter to think about this as like characters in like a Metal Gear Solid game rather than necessarily like a more like storied or like movie approach, because it's a game, because that's how it works. Yeah, cool. People do not have 360-degree vision, as it may be possible to sneak up on them or around their route. It's always up to the GM's discretion when you need to make a stealth check, but direction an enemy is facing is important. So like invisible ink or totally Hitman, right? So Umbra pointed out in chat, and this is great, and I'm spiraling away from the actual game itself, but damn, it would be cool to have somebody build an API to allow you to have Robo Rally style NPCs that automatically move. You could build in the API a button on a character sheet that you click and say phase 1 and have all of the tokens move themselves and then roll perception checks. Then you hit phase 2, then they all move again, and then it outputs a bunch more perception checks. Shit, that'd be cool. Yeah. That's pretty baller. I like it. Yeah, something that just says move to your next position. Position 1, position 2, prepping enemy AI footpaths and stuff. Yeah, automating this stuff would be really fun. Cool. Yeah. Now, I always said, and I've every time this game comes up, I always said that 4th edition would make a great XCOM game, but I think that this is doing some cool stuff in that same direction. I'm definitely more interested in playing this because of these rules than I would be if it was like just 5e spy game. This is like 5e tactical espionage and secret murdering game to accomplish. Yeah, this is putting in the work. I like it. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So Initiative determines your order in the conflict if you are detected during the infiltration phase. I like that if somebody gets noticed during infiltration, everybody else still gets to do some stuff, and then you finish it, and then you roll in and go. And then on your turn, just like in 5e, you can move up to your speed and take an action. You can use the actions in combat like we looked at before. Movement and positioning, we'll just describe that stuff. Bonus actions, I think in the same way, they'll give you some extra abilities, mostly derived from your class. And then there are other activities that might not be covered, and so it's giving you some stuff around that. It looks like we use attacks of opportunity in the same way as D&D. Movement and positioning are important for staying hidden, reaching the objective, or flanking an opponent. I wonder if that means that flanking is built in by default. I guess we'll find out. If you take an action that includes more than one weapon attack, you can break up your movement. So you can like move, fire, and then move. Difficult terrain works the same way. And then being prone is the same. You draw prone, you move. Disadvantage on melee attacks. Melee attacks against you have advantage. Range attacks have disadvantage. So that's helpful. And then you can drop prone without using any of your speed. Honestly, in a game about missile weapons, right? In a game where everyone has guns, prone is a lot more useful than a game where everyone has swords. Though there have been certain D&D encounters where the players are like, I run and I throw myself prone so that the giant doesn't hit me with a boulder. Seems smart. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So we got some more like basic stuff that we've seen, right? Squeezing, that rule is the same. Attacks are basically the same. Controlling vehicle, taking the dash action. Designating a target is an action now, right? So somebody else can take an attack on them. Designated target requires an action. Line of sight doesn't count as an attack action. So I can say I spot for the mortars or whatever. I really like that the help action is involved in here as well as a separate thing from designating a target, right? Like you're marking a target with designate target, but help is only ability checks and melee attacks, right? So it has a separate thing. Hiding, you can ready your action. You got to reload. Reloading is a full action. So it's like shoot. Use your move action to drop behind cover. Next turn, reload. I'm going to go ahead and just make a guess. I'm just going to like leap of action forward. I bet you one of these classes is going to let us reload as a bonus action. It's like a wild ass guess. I bet you that's a thing. Designate target is like laser for artillery. Yeah. And then you can search as an action. As an action, you can, interesting. So everybody has second wind. That's a big deviation. That's pretty huge. So everybody has second wind. You can spend 1 hit die to heal hit points. Roll your hit die, add your constitution modifier. So that's it. That's a thing you can do. You can all heal yourselves using second wind, which in 5e is relegated to it's a fighter ability, right? This is more like second wind in 4e, which is pretty cool. And then obviously use an object because there are lots. Yeah, it's not exactly the same as the ability named the same in 5e, but in this, it's like spend a hit die, heal some points. There's probably an improved second wind that's a class ability. Yeah. Yep. Well, and so that's the thing is, right, we layer the basic mechanics. We set them at a certain level of requirement, right? A full action, a bonus action, whatever. And then classes allow you to break those rules, or they give you better versions of existing abilities. It's like very, very basic way of changing the synchronicity between abilities and differentiating one class from another. Yeah, cool. And then we have attack rolls. It's against their armor class. This seems pretty standard stuff. We use our modifiers. We have our proficiency bonus. When we have advantage, we roll 2 and do the thing. If the 2d20 roll for an attack is a 1, you miss no matter what. It's a critical miss. Critical hit is a 20, no matter what. So I'm curious to see if a critical miss has a specific like mechanical value, or if it's just you always miss. Let's see. Combatants try to escape their foes' notice by concealing themselves in a camouflage position. You can attack a target you can't see, but you have disadvantage. You're basically guessing where they are. The GM may inform you the attack missed, not that the target is not in the space. So this is I lost him, and then I shoot into the vent where I think he is, but he's had a turn and he moved backwards instead of forward. So this is, you choose where you attack. It's just like attacking invisible opponents. But because this is a game in which sneaking is so important, there's a specific call out for that early on. Cool. All right. Good. The rest of this seems like standard D&D type stuff. Things we're already familiar with. Attacks of opportunity, disengage action, unarmed attack, etc. There's an unarmed attack going on right now. This poor security guard. Grappling and restraining. It inflicts the grapple condition. It's interesting that I guess the way a garrote works is you attack with it, and if you hit, they're also grappled, so their speed becomes 0. And then on your turn, you just keep making attacks with it to keep them grappled. Yeah. Okay. So here's a thing that I'm curious about, and we're gonna get into this, I guess, later on. What I consider to be the main problem with stealth in D&D isn't being spotted, right? It isn't being spotted. It's that when you are spotted, you can pull your gun, shoot someone in the head with it. They take 2d10 damage, but they've got 40 hit points. So it doesn't matter, right? I want there to be a thing where if you get spotted, there's still that chance of like, well, I'm faster than you. I shoot you once and you're down. Or like, that's the trick. In a lot of this fiction, there's this moment between being spotted and killing them where you still get to be stealthy, right? It happens in every one of these things. Yeah, like headshots and like against goons. And I wonder if there's like goon rules in this. Yeah, takedowns, the ability to like kill someone in one roll where it's not a full fight. Yeah, right. So I'm really curious to see if they handle this with hit points, or like how is that handled? Yeah, how do you eliminate a target after they spot you, but before they've like rung the alarm? Because I think there should be room for that. So we'll see. Once you grapple someone, you can move them around, you can shove them, just the usual stuff. And then cover appears to be normal cover from D&D. So +2 bonus to AC and dex saves, +5 bonus to AC and dex saves. So if you have 3/4 cover and someone is annihilating your cover with a machine gun, you have to make a DC 15 dex save, but you get a +5 bonus to it if you have 3/4 cover. Total cover will protect you from blasts of grenades and what have you, like we read before. There's a grappling while hidden rule. Let me take a look. Oh yeah, here we go. Grappling while hidden. While infiltrating an area, it may be pertinent to grab a guard or enemy agent while sneaking. If you are hidden and grapple an opponent, make a strength athletics check against their passive strength -5. If you succeed, you're considered to have silenced them temporarily by covering their mouth. If you do so, they will not alert their allies. Okay, so that's one way. That's a step towards that. So you jump out and like, shut up, and you like hold them. But what about the neck snap? That's the next move. That's like insta kills. I feel like almost like need to be a thing against certain enemies. And I wonder if that's in here or if that's something that the developers are thinking about, is like, how do we give that? Yeah, Splinter Cell shit. How do we give that to our players? Yeah, maybe class abilities. We'll see. We're not even halfway through yet. Okay, so hit points. So how much fortitude, physical endurance, stamina, and mental conditioning. They're not just like how many times you can get shot. It's how slowed down you get. Damage is damage. If you get a 20, it's a critical hit. It doesn't look like there's any penalty for doesn't look like there's any penalty for a 1. But what I do like is it's interesting because with a machine gun, you can't score crits, right? You're just like blasting into an area, and even if you hit somebody, they're going to take damage, but you can't crit them because you can only crit on an attack roll instead of a save. There's no critical fail on a saving throw. Interesting. All right. So damage types: acid, bludgeoning, cold, electrical, fire, force, piercing, radiation, slashing, and toxic. Man, radiation damage makes me want to play The Rock Not Dwayne The Rock Johnson, though you could play The Rock in a Rock-inspired game about Alcatraz, I guess. But yeah, radiation damage, important. I guess that's like radiation or radiant and necrotic, right? Cool. All right, and then resistance, vulnerability, and immunity. I feel like everybody should be vulnerable to radiation damage, but what do I know? Yeah, radiation is the new necrotic. Yep. And then healing, you can take second wind, which we saw. You heal up from whatever, and then the medic will have all the healing abilities. When you hit 0, you're unconscious. If you're reduced to 0 and the damage remaining is equal to or exceeds your hit point maximum, same thing, massive damage kills you. You make death saves. If you roll a 1, it's double fail. If you roll a 20, you regain a hit point and you're conscious. If you take any damage, you suffer a death saving throw failure immediately. If it's from a crit, you suffer 2. And you can stabilize with a DC 10 wisdom save. Okay, so that's all the same. Okay. Most game masters have an enemy op die when they hit 0, but some ranking characters might not. When you reduce someone to 0 with a melee attack, you can knock them out. And I imagine like it works the same way where you could like shoot them with a stun dart or whatever. Some things give you temporary hit points. They go on top of your regular hit points like in D&D. Conditions, let's see if there's any new ones or anything different. Blinded, deafened, frightened, grappled, incapacitated, paralyzed, poisoned, prone, restrained, stunned, and unconscious. Okay. Seems normal. Exhaustion. Same stuff as in D&D. That's cool. Good to stick with that stuff. And then we have a little adventure. I wonder though, does this mean that this version of the game doesn't give us our classes? Oh my God. All right, hold on. I'm gonna take a look. I'm gonna take a look through. Ooh, it might be a big tease. Let me take a look through this adventure. I don't wanna spoil it because I might be playing this at the end of the week. So let me skip through this. Let's get to the back. Don't look at it. Go. It may be that the quick start just gives us pre-gens. Oh my God, there's some really cool handouts in this adventure that you can't look at. I don't want to show you. Yeah. Here we go. I think we can look at, here we go. Okay. So we have some pre-gens, so we can make some guesses about these characters. And that's fine. That's fine for a quick start. Let me see if I can rotate the view because how do I, oh my God. I can reverse it. Rotate. Here we go. Rotate left. All right, here goes. So here's our first. I love this. This art is so good. So the face. She's cool looking and everything, right? She's got her little like silenced pistol, and then her face. Oh God. So she's yep. Okay. So she's a 3rd level master manipulator. I don't know what that means. Is that a subclass? The face is her role, which is the class in the game. It looks like she's got a handful of skills. She's got persuasion at +5, deception at +5. I don't know why, but she has advantage on charisma saving throws. So that's kind of cool. Intimidation is at +4, so she's got just a +1. I'm trying to just reverse engineer the class, but yeah, it looks like she has jack of all trades, right? Like she's got bonuses to even stuff that she has 0 on. That's what it is. So intimidation, she's got a +3 from her charisma, and then so like a bard ability. Yeah. Maybe role is like race and master manipulator is class. Yeah, that's right, because there's variations of those. Okay, all right. So now we can figure out our hit points. At level 3, she has 18 HP. Okay, all right. Proficient in light armor. Proficient in disguise kit, forgery kit, simple melee weapons, cars, and simple ranged weapons. And she starts with an undercover pack, a disguise kit, an undercover vest, and a garrote string, as well as the light pistol. Oh God. Okay. Shit. Okay. Now we got to rotate again. This is meant to be looked at in print. Boop. And again. Boop. Okay. So background. This is where we start getting some actual like information about the archetype and the themes. So yeah, so almost average gamer points out 18 hit points at level 3. Machine guns do 2d10, right? Yeah. Because that's how you figure out survivability, right? Armor class, shooting. Yeah, okay. All right. So your background, you choose one or fill in the blank. We got some Dungeon World type shit here. So codename Thornberry or make up your own. Nationality, pick 3 languages. Goblin, Dwarven, Swahili. And then double life. So you pick which one is your like fake life. You have a secret. You know who's responsible for the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. No, not useful secret. No, okay, all right. You pick an ideal, a bond, and then you have your cover identity. And because these are pre-gens, obviously, like these are pre-gen. These are bonds that will affect that specific scenario. Yeah. Okay. All right. I've negotiated the freedom of blank. Blank has done my dirty work for me. I mean, yep, I like this kind of mechanism. I like bonds that connect you to the other characters in your party. That's a thing that if I wrote a role-playing game, I would definitely include in it. And then we get into our class stuff. So features, feature of our background, which is diplomatic background, is bilingual. You get an additional bonus language. Okay, all right. You get a class feature, cover identity. Oh, sick. Okay, so class feature comes from being a face. You have a cover identity, and that mechanic is a narrative thing. Okay. Class feature theme. You may establish a pattern of behavior in a public space known as a theme in order to safely observe a location. Make an infiltration check, add your charisma bonus to blend into the scene and gain intelligence. Your ability check becomes the DC for enemy agents to discover your presence. Oh, neat. So it's like social stealth. Oh, it's Burning Wheel. It's inconspicuous. Yeah. That's pretty sick. So it looks like face is the class, master manipulator is the archetype. Yeah. At level 3, you pick master manipulator. And then class feature, jack of all trades. You add half your proficiency bonus rounded down to any ability check. We know this one. This is a bard feature. And then your archetype feature is befriend. So this comes from, I'm sorry, it's upside down, master manipulator. You can befriend a target through natural charisma and misdirection. It takes appropriate setting and time, make a charisma save, or be lured into the false friendship. Oh, you know what game you could do with this? You could do Inception with this game. You could totally do Inception with this. Yeah. Cool. That's neat. So befriend, while the target is befriended, any further saving throws are at disadvantage. Any charisma check against the target is a +1 bonus. So like if you take the time to befriend somebody, later when your cover gets blown, they're gonna want to believe you. They're gonna be like, no, that's not, no, it's you don't know, this is my friend. This is my friend Adam. And like an enemy agent's like, no, sir, they're infiltrating your security. And like, oh, that's crazy. We met weeks ago before any of this ever happened. Fun. Okay, so let's see what other classes we got. We have our hacker. Let me rotate this hacker around. Okay, so the class is the hacker. This character is an archetype black hat. They have 12 AC and 14 hit points. Please do not get shot. This is our like tech wizard, right? So they have advantage on dexterity saving throws. That's interesting. I wonder where that comes from. And then intelligence and charisma seem to be there. Now that's interesting. So it looks like everybody gets an advantage saving throw and then 2 class saving throws, right? Int and charisma as class saves, and then advantage on dex saves. Yeah. Saving throw advantages come from your background. Oh, okay. Sam, you're cheating. You're just giving me all the answers. I'm trying to reverse engineer your game here. Okay, well let's take a look at what the hacker can do. This is a criminal hacker. So you kind of have three main things that make up your character, right? You have archetype, you have background, and you have class. So your background for this character is criminal. Whoa, look at all this cool shit. Oh, this is a character sheet level reminder of all the stuff you can do with hacking. You are a hacker. You can hack. So your background is a criminal. So they're a criminal black hat hacker. They have a class feature, which is personal OS, which is their tablet with 2 hacking tools. Their operating system armor class, operating system hit points. So when they hack, they can get back hacked. Their class features, it looks like they get hacking, personal OS, and hacking ability. And then the archetype feature, which is Black Hat, gives them script kitty, which means the cost to purchase and install level 1 hacking tools is cut in half. And then these are the ones they start with. They have a DNS attack, Dave's tools, shellcode, screen logger, and IR user. Oh, these are spells. These are their spells. Right. Okay. Yeah. Hacking save DC, hacking attack modifier. They're a wizard. Yeah, totally. Cool. So these are all your cantrips. These are your hacking cantrips. And then the tools are like your spells. Yeah. Okay. And so the criminal, you get a code name, a nationality, you get 2 languages. You have your double life. I'm wanted by the Burmese government for hacking the restricted database. The secret is I know blank is still alive. So I guess your secret, you'd want it to be, you'd want to like preface the mission or the setting. Like this feels like, your secret feels like session 0 stuff, because it's very different if you say, I know a character from this thing we're about to do is still alive. But if somebody says, I know Elvis is still alive, they are getting to place. I'm really curious about when we decide these secrets and stuff. And do you do this with the group? Is it session 0? Do you learn it from your players, or do you tell your players the setting and then they do it? Yeah. Because yeah, again, I know JFK is still alive. I know Tupac is still alive. Very, very different than I know that Subdirector Jefferson is still alive, right? Yeah. And then your ideal, and then you have a bond. Blank protects me offline. I protect them online. Aw, isn't that sweet? All right, cool. So now I think we get to our thief. I think this is our thief. Let's rotate this bad boy back around. So the infiltrator, 3rd level thief. Okay, so yeah, definitely rogue. 18 armor, 18 hit points. Nobody's got fighter hit points yet. Let's see if there's a heavy in here. Big dex save with advantage. And it looks like wisdom and looks like dexterity is their save. Oh, it's just that their charisma is low. So charisma is their other saving throw, maybe. Yeah, this is Sam Fisher, right? This is our Sam Fisher guy. Pam Swisher. Sneak up, assassinate people. In this case, steal things. And let's find out about their background, the 3rd part of this character. Also, chat, you have to help me pick one of these because I got to play one. It's control minus or control plus to turn. Let me see. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, now he's hanging from the ceiling. Yep. Yeah, I'm doing it. It's fine. Okay, so they also have the criminal background. Okay, all right. So criminal background. No, I know it's not the plus. I'm pressing the button. So let's see here. Codename Nightshade. I'm the infamous blank, the cat burglar, heist planner, armed robber, or car booster. I know the location of the real Mona Lisa or Slim Shady, I guess. Why earn things when you can take them? Thievery is an art and I am a master. I'm stealing to pay the ransom on my son, daughter, partner in crime, Mercedes-Benz. So you get, as part of the criminal background, you get escape notice. Now, I guess these seem different. I'm really curious to see, like, because this is not the same background feature as the other criminal that we saw, right? The other criminal we saw, oh no, escape notice. Yeah, okay, good. All right, so it is an overlay. So it is the same. So you can have everyone be criminals if you want, and they'd all get escape notice. Okay, cool. I'm trying to see what parts are modular, and I'm trying to extrapolate out what character creation looks like based on the presets. So escape notice You get expertise as part of your class. Proficiency bonus is made for any wisdom, infiltration, or thieves tools check. You get sneak attack, extra 2d6 damage. If you have advantage, using a finesse or ranged weapon. Second level, you get thieves at work. So you recognize the work of other infiltrators, thieves, or master criminals. Oh, that's fun. That's actually really fun. That's a good, again, establishing setting, right? It's like in a kung fu movie where you fight somebody you don't know, and then you're like, wait a second, this is Eben Crane style. You studied under Master Lee, right? Like that kind of thing where you can look at an infiltrator's work and be like, ah, I see. We can expect to run into the shark. Yeah, okay. Thieves at work, cunning action. So dash, disengage, or hide is a bonus action, and then fast hands. You get to use your bonus action to disarm, open a lock, or take the use an object action. And that's actually more interesting given that infiltration is a part of combat, right? Making stealth and the sneaking part of the game use the same rules as combat means that on your action, move, act, bonus action, use an object now becomes much better because you could dash, use an object. Yeah. Okay. So it's recontextualizing an existing ability and giving it more to do when you reuse the framework for other stuff. Clever. Yeah. All right. Should we try to use the keyboard shortcut to figure out our martial artists? Let me look. Okay. So it says rotate view, rotate left. It's Control Shift minus. Okay. It was the wrong keyboard shortcut. Haha. We did it. We did it, chat. Good hacking. Took a couple of attempts. Okay, so martial artist is a class. Okay, martial artist is a class. The archetype is Krav Maga, which I assume means that your character has the ability to punch people super hard in the throat and genitals. But this is our monk variation, right? Yeah, Krav Maga is the Israeli military martial art, right? And it's kind of like so I guess what are the other martial arts that we would, if you had to guess, what would be the other ones? Krav Maga, what's the Russian one? The like Sistema. Totally, Sistema. Yeah. I feel like that would be the other one. And then yeah, like these seem like special forces martial arts. Yeah. Instead of like kung fu, karate, yeah, so it's like Krav Maga, right, drunken boxing. Yeah, these are like fast, efficient styles. But I wonder if Krav Maga is different enough than I do kind of like, yeah, Muay Thai would be pretty sick. I do sort of like brawling. So you could be the like wilderness agent, like the dude with the big beard who like, I lived in the wilds alone for 40 years. Now I've got to kill someone with an axe, right? Like I kind of like the idea of like roughneck martial arts, but yeah, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Krav Maga, and yeah, I would like to see Sistema because Sistema features so heavily in one of my favorite William Gibson novels. But yeah, Kempo. I don't think capoeira. I think it's a little too flashy. But yeah, a lot of people getting punched in the groin, I think. So let's see what being a Krav Maga practitioner gives you. Let's take a look. Check it out. I can do it. Boop. Okay, so this is a person. Oh, cute. Background is sports. I'm a famous Olympian, Paralympian. Oh, that's a nice touch. Prize fighter. I was the subject of an illegal doping experiment. Oh, cool. So you can be like a MMA guy who has become a secret agent. Yeah. Rad. Did we miss that? We got to check hit points on this guy. 28 hit points. So pretty tough fighter. Yeah. CQC, former wrestler. Yeah. All right. So as a sportsman, as a sports person, you get track and field. So you can reroll any strength or dex check, but you have to take the rerolled result, and you do that once per short rest. Okay. You have martial arts, so you can use dex instead of strength for attacks. You roll d4. You can use the attack action with an unarmed strike on your turn. So monk stuff. And then this is interesting, and I wonder if this is going to stay this way, but like porting chi into the game wholesale means that chi is real. The energy of chi, the underlying metaphysical energy or life force in some schools of martial arts. This moves us away from Sam Fisher and into Street Fighter. Like if it's in the game and a character has it, that means that it's real. You can do flurry of blows not because you're a skilled martial artist, but because you are like a movie martial artist. Yeah. So that's interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah. So this just means like this character believes in it enough. And I guess in session 0, you could ask the martial artist, is chi real? Or is it just like mental discipline that you believe in? Does your character believe it? Yeah. I don't imagine it's going to lead us to being able to throw fireballs or anything, but I guess if you wanted to do a Street Fighter the movie RPG, you could probably adapt that kind of thing to it. Yeah. It's kind of like the faith in Dogs in the Vineyard. Like, is it real? Is it not real? It doesn't matter. It empowers the characters. Well, that's the thing about creating a game that occupies the middle of a massive Venn diagram of fiction, right? As we're reading through this, I'm thinking of dozens of subgenres of spy action that you could ostensibly write new rules for, or just do with a little bit of flavor adaptation. Otherwise, this looks like a standard monk until we get down here to tradition feature. So Krav Maga, if grappled by an opponent, you can escape the grapple by making an attack action. If you cause damage, you can also escape their grasp, removing the grappled condition. So you are not a part of the you're not stuck in a hold. You're good at getting away from other martial artists. I wonder if there's a way to turn a hold on you into a hold on someone else. So if somebody grabs you, if there's like a feature later on, or you can spend a key point to reverse the hold, right? So it's like, you think you have me? Now I have you, and I'm punching you in the everywhere. Cool. Okay, so you can be a sports monk. All right, let's see. So the medic, which is broken into, in this case, the biochemist. This guy looks like we got him right from the pandemic box. We got a handsome guy. He has 18 hit points. I'm guessing this is our cleric. He's got 18 hit points. He's got an undercover vest on. I don't know if he's sworn the Hippocratic Oath because he's carrying around a knife and a pistol. He kind of looks like Dr. Krieger. he kind of does, doesn't he? I don't think one of the roles is going to be Nazi scientist. But you know what? If you want to play Archer, I guess this is the guy. Let's see what he can do. The knife is for surgery. It says melee weapon on here, so. And he's got a nuclear briefcase. Nuclear briefcase is also the name of his band. So nice. So he's got a government background. So there's another one of our backgrounds. He's a government medic who is a biochemist. He has internal security. He gets advantage checks while using computers with a government programming infrastructure. Oh yeah, that's right. It's biohazard, not nuclear. You're right. He's carrying on a biohazard briefcase. He's just really into Resident Evil. Okay. Class feature is first aid. If you or another agent regains points. Oh, this is the short rest boost. That's a bard ability, right? That first aid thing. Because it's like at the end of a short rest, it's Song of Rest. Yeah. At the end of a short rest, everybody gets an extra D6. You get diagnosis. Determine the type of disease a character has contracted. Clearly recognize wounds, their cause of death. You can CSI that stuff. And then vital points. Vital points. If you attack using dexterity with a finesse quality, you get an extra D6 bonus damage. Good. Kill doctor. So you get that bonus D6 damage when you jam a shiv into someone's neck because you know where the good arteries are. Those good arteries. And then you get chemistry to create medicines, toxins, and poisons at the discretion of the GM out of that stuff. When are we playing this? We're playing it on the 8th of July at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern on Roleplay. And it's me. Let me see if I can remember the list. It's me, Zeke, Max, and Elsbeth playing characters. Max is gonna love this game. That's a pretty good. Now that I think about it, I hadn't really like gone over the list of players. I'm gonna have a blast. Those players are gonna be great. It's like the most RP heavy of everyone in the like role play family. Like that's gonna be good. I'm super excited. Yeah, this should be fun. I mean, hell, Elspeth played a spy game character in Mark's one shot. Yeah, I think this should be good. I'm looking forward to it. So take note. There's no like you just give people healing, right? Like you use medical supplies to give an extra D6, but it's gear healing, not like the medic doesn't have like a spell where we like, aha, you're healed with bandages or whatever. They have to use their gear that they have. How many uses of healing equipment do we have? Let's see. Hacking tools, lab equipment, and surgeon tools. Doctor's bag. It does not say. I have a bunch of like specific equipment, but it doesn't look like he starts with like healing tools. I guess we'll find out. I'm sure someone will play. I was joking with folks in chat about like I should probably play the medic and then just play them as like a religious person and be like a former like Russian agent who's come to. It's fine. That's fine. Play the cleric all the time anyway. Okay, cool. So let's ooh, the ranger. So this is the character that has like a cool animal pet, right? And you make them fight the. Hey, listen, at least in this case, my character would actually have been a doctor. So this is our murder lesbian. This is Lara Croft, secret agent. I think this probably means like special forces ranger, right? Survivalist, able to endure inhospitable environments, soldier of the wilderness. They are a 3rd level guerrilla fighter. Yep. Okay. All right. 25 hit points. Is that the most hit points we've had so far? Nope, 28. She's slightly less tough than Krav Maga over here. Okay. So 25 hit points. She's got a machete, a compound bow, a wilderness pack, and a knife. Yeah, she's Lara Croft. Yeah, her constitution is lower. Yeah. And she starts with a machete and a bow. Okay, good. She can drive motorcycles, cars, and heavy vehicles. She can use all kinds of weapons. Let's take a look at her class abilities. All right. She's got an academic background. If this lady doesn't have an English accent, I will eat my hat. I'm the author of groundbreaking research on robbing tombs. She orchestrated the sabotage of exploitative manufacturing, farming, or government forces. Respect nature or it'll kill you. Blank fascinates me. And then as an academic, you pick a subject. And any role relating to that subject material you have advantage on it. She is a natural explorer, this is the ranger abilities, right? She's got a barbarian ability here. It's good. Good to see that's still around. She's got danger sense. She has a fighting style of marksmanship. Does not suffer disadvantage from attacking at long range with a ranged weapon. It's cool. The classes here, like I'm seeing abilities. Basically, it looks like what Sam and the team have done has been write down all of the abilities that everybody in the game of Dungeons and Dragons has, cut them up, and build new class sets out of them. So we're going to see synergy within a class built on other class, like everybody's a sort of miniature multi-class, which is quite cool. And then adding in new stuff through background and an archetype. So yeah, cool. Now, Danger Sense is pretty baller because you get advantage on dexterity saving throws against effects you can see. Like, I don't know, machine gun fire? You make a lot of dexterity saves in this game. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. Grenades, machine gun fire. Danger Sense is actually a lot more common in this. Which isn't to say that's not already, like dexterity saves aren't already the most common saving throw, but still pretty good. Yeah, I bet you the next person's the big brute, the big heavy armor guy. So Improved explosive devices. You can make IEDs from basic explosive compounds. So this person and the medic could work together nicely to be chemistry squad. I like it. Yep, there we go. The soldier. So the soldier, this person looks like a tough badass. Look at those goggles. So armor class is 14 or 16, 29 hit points. So one more HP than our karate monk. Their specialty is platoon leader. And it looks like, let's take a look at what fighty type abilities they have. All right, they are a military soldier, codename Ronin or anything else. Background feature is rank. You hold military rank. You command the respect of any personnel in the same organization you outrank. While on good terms, you can gain assistance from the organization or requisition equipment. The higher the rank, higher your responsibility. So you are like Lieutenant somebody or Sergeant somebody. That's BD Wong and not The Rock, and you know it. Cool. Okay. You get a class feature, which is training. You have close CQB. +2 bonus to attack rolls with a pistol at short range. Ignore disadvantage of making ranged attacks against targets within 5 feet. Oh, CQB it's the John Wick ability, right? This is the like shooting somebody up close, pulling pistol on someone else nearby. Yeah. Totally. And then adrenaline burst, which is temporary HP. Action surge like a fighter. There's that quick load. There you go. Reload during a move instead of your action. Whoa. That's even better than using a bonus action. Holy shit. That's really cool. Yeah, see, I expected it to go from an action to a bonus action, but the soldier straight up reloads as they move, which is pretty cool. It's like, shoot your full auto, drop the clip, fall back. It's run and gun. Yeah. I like it. And then the military or the platoon leader archetype give one of your attacks to an ally you can communicate with. The ally makes a melee range attack as normal using their stuff. Oh, sick. Oh, that's really cool. So instead of attacking, you can like radio the sniper and be like, take the shot. And they can, even if it's not their turn, blam, they can fire from anywhere. You could coordinate another person in your team. You can coordinate somebody from a vehicle, right? In another location. It just gives one of your attacks to them. They don't need your line of sight. They don't need any of that. You give the rogue another sneak attack. Yeah, it's the Battle Master ability. Yeah, a little bit of that Warlord stuff. Squad vision from XCOM. Yeah, I like it. That is really cool. Yeah. So I really, really like, and this is something we'll talk a little bit when we get to the kind of the end of it. But what I really like about this is that the espionage is second to the action. That this is a game of like run and gun, jumping and shooting, taking cover, that kind of stuff, more than it is a game about sneaking so much. Sneaking is a part of it, but I think it would be very, very hard to build a stealth game on this framework. But I like the way they've leaned into the strengths of the system. So yeah, the technician, is this our like tech warlock? Yeah, it's not to say that it doesn't have sneaking at all, but it treats it as an inevitability, right? That you will eventually go hot. Yeah. So the technician, which is a transporter, in this case, that's the archetype, that is proficient with motorbikes, cars, heavy goods vehicles, planes, and unmanned. Yeah, it might be a rigger, might be like some of that. Yeah. Yeah, not Jason Statham, the transporter. Okay, so they've got this drone, they got a pack, they got some gear, but also they're like the mechanical, like the person that if the hacker messes with computer software, this is the hardware person, right? The tinker. Let's take a look at their abilities, of which they have many. Oh, they're a sportsman as well. This is another sports person, sports artificer. So they have track and field like the other person. Their class feature is technical services. They get a bunch of permanent personal gadgets. They return, in return, these items inside and out. They're your personal version of that stuff. If you use a gadget that due to its operation is expendable, you're furnished with a replacement at the beginning of your next mission. They're in your inventory as long as you don't lose them or get destroyed. You don't need to purchase them separately. You just get them. Okay. Yeah, maybe like former motorsports person. Yeah, right? Champion race car driver. Yeah. Your class feature is repairing equipment. You can heal an object's hit points. So you can fix your car either with a check or just by default. And then class feature is technical wizard. So you have 3 tech points. Interesting. Sorcery points. Okay. So you have tech points and you can spend them to overclock to reroll your damage dice on a gadget, or deploy a gadget as a bonus action. Quickened gadget, right? Yeah. That's pretty sick. Okay. And then +2 bonus to operate cars. So they're a driver and a mechanic and a fixer. Yeah. Okay. And then the gadgets you start with, what is this? You pick, you have a number of them. So they get a +1 armored vest. They get a GPS tracker pill. They have a disguised video camera. They have a suppressor. Hey, here's suppressors. When you fire a weapon equipped with a suppressor, it cannot be heard within long range, and within short range, you have to make a DC 15 wisdom check to detect it. There we go. So suppressor is a magic item that you attach to a gun. Okay. And then AR glasses use modern projection technology to give you data over top, indicating enemies behind cover, etc. And this is a narrative benefit that you could use to wrangle for advantage, right? Or to negate things like cover or whatever, right? Neat. Dark vision and shit. Yeah. Cool. All right. So there we go. Man, interesting. I will say this. About the quick start guide. It makes me want to know more about the game. I want to get my hands on, I want to see all the guts. I want to see how, like, the GM chapter, I want to see experience. Like, this feels like such a tease. Give me your game. I want to see all that other stuff. But I guess in lieu of getting access to the whole unfinished thing, which is why we gotta wait. We gotta wait till it's done. The beta is coming out for Kickstarter backers at the end of the Kickstarter. I think as soon as it's done, it's like, here you go. This is a taste of the game, kind of like the Alien one that we saw. It doesn't give you enough to build your own stuff, but it gives you enough to understand kind of what they're going for. For me, the important things that I'm going to need to take a look at in the beta are going to be, how are we rewarded? Are we rewarded for completing missions? Are we rewarded for fulfilling our bonds? Do we get mission goals? Do we get XP for overcoming monsters? Like, what is this game about on a reward level, right? Notice inspiration, just not a part of the game. No alignment, no inspiration. Is that going to be something in the game? How is that going to be wrangled in? And then I want to see how adversaries work, right? I want to look at how many hit points do enemy spies have? Are there special rules for goons? Are there any rules for drifting the game to make it feel more like one style of game or one style or another? Are those all the classes? What do the backgrounds look like? How many backgrounds are there? I'm curious enough from this little taste that I'm actually very excited about playing. I don't know what class I should be. What should I play? They all look cool. I think I was saying, let me look at we've got a little Twitter thread going. Let me take a look. Who did I say? Who did I suggest? I said face, based just on the name, the face, the hacker, the infiltrator, or the medic. I think, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. The face, maybe? They all seem so fun. Oh. I guess it'll depend on what everybody else is going to play, too. Well, I guess if you want to know more about this game, I guess the two things that you should do, head on over to Kickstarter, look up the spy game. You can, if you're in chat right now, you can pump in that command. You can go and click that link. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put a link down below to the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter is live for another, I want to say month and a bit, maybe 37 days, 36 days to go. Yeah, 36 days to go, and it'll be live until then. And then once it's done, you'll get if you back it, you get a copy of the beta PDF, so you can go check that out. The other thing you can do if you're curious about the game, you want to see it in action, you want to see if the proof is in the pudding and how we steal the pudding. Tune in to twitch.tv/itmejp on the 8th of July at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Or you can watch the VODs right away after on JP's channel if you're a sub, or you can watch them on YouTube. Go and check them out. Do the thing. I'm going to be a spy. I'm excited. I'm going to shoot some guys. I'm going to sneak around. I'm going to break into computers and stuff. I think it's going to be really cool. Yeah. So take a look and see if maybe the spy game is for you. And we'll see you on Monday for some actual play. Thanks for coming, everybody. And thanks to Sam and to the team at Black Cats Gaming for giving me the opportunity to show off their game to you. I hope that you found it interesting and that you're fired up for spy action. We'll see you next time.